When people think about gender debates today, two words often dominate the conversation: toxic masculinity and feminism. In many Western countries, these ideas spark intense political arguments, protests, and cultural battles. But what about Japan? A country famous for politeness, order, and social harmony. Do the same gender wars exist here? Or does Japan approach masculinity and feminism in a completely different way? Today, we are uncovering the surprising reality behind gender dynamics in Japan. But before we talk about Japan, we need to understand what people usually mean by toxic masculinity. The term generally refers to cultural expectations placed on men that discourage emotional expression, promote dominance, and pressure men to appear strong at all times. In many Western discussions, toxic masculinity is linked to behaviors like men being discouraged from showing vulnerability, and also aggressive competition and dominance, social pressure to always be the provider, and as well as cultural acceptance of male authority. These debates are especially common in countries like the United States and parts of Europe. But when we look at Japan, the story becomes far more complex. Japan has long had its own version of masculine expectations. Historically, men were expected to be disciplined, hardworking, and emotionally restrained. These ideas were influenced by cultural traditions like Bushido, the moral code of the samurai. You've heard of samurai, right? Bushido emphasized loyalty, duty, honor, and self-control. Showing too much emotion was often seen as weakness. Even in modern times, many Japanese men still feel pressure to fit into a specific social role: the salaryman. The salaryman works long hours, sacrifices personal time, and provides financial stability for the family. In fact, the concept became so powerful after World War II that it ended up shaping the identity of the modern Japanese man. But here's the twist. While these expectations exist, Japan rarely frames them using the language toxic masculinity. Instead, they are often discussed as work culture issues or social pressure. Now, let's talk about feminism. Contrary to what many outsiders believe, feminist movements do exist in Japan, but they look very different from Western activism. Japan's modern feminist movement began gaining momentum in the 1970s, and they focused on workplace equality and legal rights. One key milestone was the Equal Employment Opportunity Law, introduced in 1985. The law aimed to reduce gender discrimination in hiring and promotions. More recently, movements addressing issues like workplace harassment and inequality have grown. For example, Japanese activists have supported global conversations related to the Me Too movement. But compared to Western countries, feminist activism in Japan is often less confrontational and more gradual. Many advocates focus on policy change rather than public protests. So why doesn't Japan have the same intense gender culture wars? One major reason is social harmony. Japanese culture traditionally values avoiding open conflict in public discourse. Even controversial issues are often discussed carefully and indirectly. Another factor is demographic change. Japan has one of the world's lowest birth rates and a rapidly aging population. Because of this, the government has increasingly encouraged women to join the workforce. Policies connected to programs like womenomics, promoted during the leadership of Shinzo Abe, aimed to expand female participation in the economy. And the idea was simple. If more women work, Japan's economy grows. So in Japan, gender equality discussions are often framed as economic necessities, not just social justice. Today, younger generations in Japan are slowly redefining masculinity and gender roles. Many young men are rejecting the traditional salaryman lifestyle. Some are choosing flexible work, creative careers like YouTubing, or creating content, or prioritizing personal happiness over corporate loyalty. A cultural shift even created a new label, herbivore men. These are men who reject aggressive dating expectations and traditional masculine stereotypes. And at the same time, more Japanese women are delaying marriage, building careers, and seeking independence. Social media and global culture also is influencing the conversation. Young Japanese people today are more exposed than ever to international debates about gender and identity. There's TikTok, there's YouTube, there's Instagram, Facebook, a lot of social media platforms nowadays to get a lot of information from. So, does toxic masculinity and feminism exist in Japan? Yes, but not in the same way they appear in Western countries. Japan has its own unique gender expectations shaped by history, work culture, and social values. Instead of loud culture wars, change in Japan tends to happen quietly and gradually. Yet beneath the surface, a new generation is slowly reshaping what it means to be a man, a woman, and an individual in modern Japan. And as Japan continues to evolve, the conversation about gender roles is only just beginning. Ja matane.